It's a Thursday, which means we have a brand new online lap time challenge, and this time, well, we're going back to the future, featuring the DMC Delorean. So let's head over and see what you can expect for the next 2 weeks. So this is the lap time challenge at Deep Forest Raceway Reverse, featuring the DMC Delorean S2. As usual, it's the top 3%, 5% and top 10% which will pay you out. The track is of course Deep Forest Raceway on the reverse layout, and this will run until the 8th of May 2025. Usable tyres are sports hard, wide body prohibited, and the same with overtake. Of course, the specified car is the Delorean. BOP is set to mid-speed. Car use can be a garage or event specified car. Your settings are specified, track limits are normal, and both shortcut and wall collision will invalidate your time. So at the time of recording, my lap time was good enough for 54th in the world, which put me in the gold category. Whether it will stay there for 2 weeks, it's not really known, but there is plenty of time to chop off my current fastest lap. So let's go ahead and get into the tips and tricks for this one, beginning with the general tips. Again, this is things that are mainly related to the game itself, not the car or not the track. So let's begin then with assists off. I fully recommend just turning all of your assists off. It will do nothing but bog you down, especially in a car this slow. Next up is a manual transmission. Again, it's all about muscle memory, and whilst there's not too many gear changes here, you want to ensure you have full control over your car. Now before you even attempt this, I fully recommend head over to the qualifying time rankings on the global leaderboard, look for one with the replay icon and go ahead and load it up to see what the current fastest times are doing in terms of gearing and cornering. You can also go ahead and do the same when you get into the event to load up a ghost and just follow what it's doing. And the final general tip I have for you here, which is pretty crucial for this specific lap time challenge, that is going to be throttle control. Combine this with the quite a lot of braking you're going to have to be doing here to really get the car to turn in, and I'll talk about it more in a little moment's time as to really why that is, but it's going to be crucial that you know how to do a decent amount of throttle control. So let's talk about car specific tips then, which are of course for the DMC Delorean. So first of all, the car that we're using is of course the DMC Delorean S2 from 2004. It has a PP rating of 449.82. Pretty low overall. It will set you back if you want to purchase one, a whopping 428,200 credits from that used car dealership. It has a displacement of 2,849cc, rear wheel drive, only 197 brake horsepower, and weighs 1,288 kilograms. And of course it's naturally aspirated. So as for the DMC Delorean then, let's begin. It's incredibly slow, it's incredibly heavy, and it corners like a brick. Unfortunately, it will not time travel at 88 miles per hour. We don't have that specification here in Gran Turismo 7. Now the brakes on the other hand are actually good. Now I don't know if it's because we're not going to be hitting absolutely ridiculous speeds, but it did a good enough job at actually slowing the car down, sometimes surprisingly so. In terms of the car itself and its handling, there's a lot of body roll here, so you will feel the car move about a lot through the corners. Next up is throttle control is key. I have mentioned this previously, but if you want to get a fast lap, you're going to have to be pretty decent with your throttle control. Combining that with the decent brakes will be absolutely king to getting a fast lap here. So certainly when it comes to lap time challenges, this is not one of the fastest whatsoever. It will take you a decent amount of time to lap Deep Forest Raceway Reverse in this specific vehicle, and a lot of the time that you're going to be making up is going to be done under braking or through the corners. So you really want to focus on those lower speed sections of the track to get through them as quick as possible with this fairly overall janky vehicle. Let's move on then to the lap itself. This is my current personal fastest lap. Of course, this is very early in the lap time challenge, so it will probably improve considerably over the next couple of weeks, and it was just into the 1 minute 48. So will this lap time remain gold for the next 2 weeks? Who knows, it kind of remains to be seen at the present. Anyway, stick to the right hand side as you begin your lap. You are then going to go up the pretty huge incline, and once you see the bollard on your right, then head over to the left. Now there's another two there, don't hit them. You want to lift and then shift into third. This will kind of kick the rear out, brake heavily into second. Now I fully recommend just maintaining second gear if you have the momentum. I unfortunately didn't, so I shifted into first, short shifted back up into second, and then again you've got the huge runoff on the curb, and it won't invalidate you as long as you don't take too much. So use that to your advantage for a nice clean exit. you then have the pretty long tunneled sections. So here you're just going to be absolutely flat out until the next corner, which can be a little bit tricky, in fact deceivingly so. So we're going to continue down the tunnel, hug the right hand side and then head out towards the left. Now once you see the actual curb start, you want to brake. I was a little bit early here. We're going to go down into second, turn in at the end of the curb and shift into second gear. We're then going to lift off, use a bit of throttle control to bring the car nicely on the outside and get ready for a decent runoff. Again, you can take a lot of that curb there without it invalidating your time. You're then going to go third gear, flat out through here. I got a little bit of a kick out there, so it did lose me a bit of time. And then once again, another cut onto the green. At the end of it, you then want to brake into second gear. Once you've braked, you're then going to use your throttle control once again, just to carry that momentum around this left-hander. Head out nice and wide, once again running those curbs, and get ready for probably the most awkward and trickiest section. Once the curb ends, keep it in third gear, let the rear kick out, not too much, unfortunately mine did, and maintain that third gear. Get yourself on the inside of the right hander, and then once again lift, bring the throttle back in, and then go straight to the left. Now you can do a little bit of a cut here. Unfortunately it wasn't perfect for me, but again we're just going to maintain that third gear, bring it to the right and get ready for a bit of downhill braking. Now the main thing you're looking for here is the 50 board, so brake, keep the car in third gear and then shift into second. At that point, lift off everything, use the brakes and throttle control to just allow that car to sort of turn in and give yourself a decent exit. At that point, on the throttle, up the curb and exit the final corner. It is a bit of a long lap here and it can be incredibly awkward at that final section, which is where I'm losing most of my time, to be totally honest. It was good enough for a 1:48.983. With that, that is the new online lap time challenge. Now this one is here until the second week of May, I believe. Of course, we're using the DMC Delorean, which is an incredibly awkward and janky car, but there is method to the madness with this car. Overall, I think I will probably go back a few times to just improve on my lap time. I actually found myself having a pretty ridiculous amount of fun here, and whilst it might not appeal to everybody, I think those that love the classic cars and of course the DeLorean for how iconic it is will probably really enjoy this one for the next 2 weeks. Overall though, I do wish it was on the standard layout of Deep Forest and not on the reverse. For some reason, Polyphony's got this sheer obsession with showing off the reverse layout absolutely every chance they get. We never really see the normal version of it, unfortunately, and that is the case here. But overall, whilst it might not appeal to everybody, this is certainly not the worst one we've had in recent time, and I think a lot of us will probably find ourselves having fun with this one. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. A huge thank you to you guys watching at home, and a huge thank you to my channel members who have been listed on screen currently. I'll see you in the next one. Take care guys, peace.